that we kind of started talking about before is what happens if you have a kid in your classroom who either A, you know he had some sort of head injury, or B, you suspect he may because of his or her behavior. So what to do in that case? So you guys know this as well as I do. Any kid in your classroom has a change in behavioral functioning or cognitive functioning. You're going to want to evaluate that, right? And if there's a question of a head injury, then there are two things to do. One, definitely send them to their physician to make sure there's nothing medical, realizing, of course, that if the head injury happened a little while ago, the physician may not be able to pinpoint that. But if you still really suspect, or you heard from the parent that they hit their head and you really see some changes, then probably the best place to go is to see a neuropsychologist, which is what I am. And what we can try to do, although as I pointed out before, we're not perfect at this, but we can look at what's the history. Okay, what's the history of possible injury? What are the history of other problems that have been going on? And then we can do testing to look at those specific cognitive pieces that we were talking about, like memory and attention and impulse control and all of those kinds of issues. And we can look at the pattern of those, because the pattern of those problems looks somewhat different for a kid with a TBI sometimes than for a kid with a learning disability or an emotional problem that's underlying their learning problems, and try to pull those things apart. Sometimes we can't, and sometimes the best we can say is some of this looks like a brain injury, some of it looks like something else. There are multiple contributors, but what we can always do, even if we're not sure, what we can always do is make suggestions based on their strengths and weaknesses of things to try at school. Okay? And as you might have guessed, the kinds of changes you might notice if you have a kid who you think has had an injury that might tip you off are irritability and moodiness, fatigue, being withdrawn and impulsive, complaining of headaches, and trouble learning new information and slowed down speed of processing. You know, the other thing that sometimes happens, if a kid has had a brain injury and nobody has really connected that, it looked pretty mild, parent went to the ER and they said they were fine, and most of us are kind of prepared as parents that our kids might get a knock on the head and try not to be too paranoid, right? And then there are problems afterwards. If we don't ever connect those, what usually happens is that we have a kid with a lot of emotional and behavioral problems on our hands. And so you guys are so critical, and parents too, in kind of catching these things early on, because that's what happens. In teenagers, what happens is in some of these kinds of cases where kids get sent home from the ER, people tell them they're fine and they're still having symptoms, is often we get teenagers who are suicidal, having suicidal thoughts because, they cannot figure out what is going on. And they can't fix it. And usually the people in their environment are not reacting positively to them, which doesn't make you feel great, right? And so in little kids, you're going to see, you may see worsening emotional difficulties. And so trying to catch these things early is a good thing. And like you were mentioning, if a kid's had a knock on the head, just getting them to the doctor to make sure that they get a check, get at least an initial check, and then kind of watching them over that post-concussive time frame to make sure that they're improving the way we know they should. And if they're not, identifying that to the parent and suggesting that they see their physician and a psychologist about that. Does that make sense? One thing to keep in mind is there are lots of psychologists who can see kids with brain injuries. They're not all neuropsychologists, but most of the time, psychologists who are generalists don't have that specialty training. And so certainly it can be helpful to go to a psychologist that you have a relationship with in your community. But to get some of that more specific pulling the pieces apart, you're going to have better luck with someone who has specialty training in that area usually.